Hush here, joining up. Let's try something new. Let's end this quickly. Let's end this quickly.
Leave no survivors.
Maybe I should take it. They're firing at us. Get over here!
Who's up next? Twice.
Double kill.
Join your friends
Are
in
the
the
avatar of death.
I guarantee you this guy will be on the front cover of like Time magazine.
He will get an Oscar for making a movie about, right.
Like I just saw like Antony Blinken the other day on the front cover of Time magazine. I'm like, my God, don't put Zelensky on there. This guy running against Putin will probably be on there. And we'll get to that
That's
story.
going to be hard for Zelensky to be in that guy's shadow.
I know. Exactly. And we're also going to look at exactly. And
That's
we're also,
David's bird, by the way.
And we're also going to talk about Justin Trudeau and the ballot harvesting possibilities that could unfold with the election reforms in Canada. What is the Trudeau government trying to pull in Canada? By the way, Canada, don't they have one of the best election systems in the world? Like, why do we need to reform it and model it more after the United States? All of that and more as Redacted starts right now. Bird is a weird animal to just randomly have. Like the one day we're sitting here talking, and David, it sounds like Star Wars guns, like pew 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 pew. I'm like, what is that? He's like, yeah, I got a bird. I'm like, what? When did you? It's like, yeah, oh yeah. I should have mentioned I also got a turtle. Like what?
It makes me like
Alligator gets here next week.
It punctuates our good points whenever we make a good point. Pew pew. Good job.
Yeah,
man.
you're just watching this bird. We should be clear. You're just watching this bird temporarily, but it's hilarious. I'm like,
yes.
When did you get a bird? Yeah, it's like we got snakes. Yeah, we got a very busy show for you on this Thursday. Thank you guys for joining us. Hey, by the way, because we support the farmers and all of these farmers protests, I don't know if you've seen over the past 24 hours, multiple arrests now, farmers being arrested. Europe is rising up. These farmers all across Europe are rising up, from Liechtenstein to
Brussels. They're
Lithuania.
being pushed back by police with rubber bullets at this point. The last we heard, we're going to bring you this story as it develops over the next, well, we've been following it for weeks and weeks, and it continues. Later today, we're supposed to hear from the German government about what they're going to do about it. Do they actually hear them? Is something going to happen? So we'll continue to follow that story.
But my point is that we have a new Redacted store. We have a brand new t-shirt that just rolled out, the No Farmers, No Food t-shirt. So we're really excited about this. I just ordered a short sleeve and a long sleeve version. Very exciting about this. I love the designs. Grim did the designs on this, and looks fantastic. So just head on over to redactedstore.com. You can check out all of our other merch over there as well.
It's masculine.
I Will Not Comply t-shirts, the hoodies, the mugs. Yeah, it's masculine. Show that you're a man.
We should get some feminine belly shirts too, or something like that. Sometimes I'm like, I'm the only girl around here. I'm like, oh yeah, that's very manly. Okay, sure.
Get one of those like belly shirt ones you tie in the center, like the farmer girls.
Could do that.
Yeah, like a little cowgirl
But you know what we
hat.
could do? We could take the overalls off and have him just be bare-chested with a tattoo that says "No farmers, no food" for the ladies.
The bird likes that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess, yeah. Just so it's for the ladies. It'd be a bare-chested farmer. Yeah.
Got it.
See, you're following.
But not for us to wear. All right. We'll work on the.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
We'll work on the J-Lo brand.
All right, we've got a lot of news to get to. Let's get into it tonight, and let's talk about the January 6th pipe bomb narrative is about to collapse. The story is being buried, of course, by the mainstream media. Here is the backpack guy, the original backpack guy, on January 5th, of course, dropping the bombs in multiple locations. Of course, all of this makes sense when you think about it for a second. Why can't the FBI track down and then you find backpack guy who planted the pipe bombs? They have video footage of the guy, as you can see right here, leaving the bombs. They have footage of him going to a car. They have footage of him using the subway. They have cell phone tracking data. He pulls the phone out while he's sitting on the bench, and the bomb component parts that would lead them directly to this guy. Now, according to former FBI agent, FBI bomb expert, those component parts are like having a fingerprint. You know exactly where they came from.
Every destructive device has a signature, and it's something that is pretty much unique to the person who put that bomb together. The components of the bomb, I've worked bombing cases in the past where the components have actually led us to the neighborhood of where the bomber was. Here, the FBI has the components. They've gone through them.
Yeah, they do. And it's really surprising that nearby the FBI, they use the exact same pipe bombs at their FBI training facility.
Yeah, but that guy's got a super stealth outfit of a gray sweatshirt and sweatpants.
Okay.
It's, you know,
Yeah.
it's like ninja level disguise.
But the fact that these particular pipe bombs are the exact ones that they use at the FBI training facility nearby. Like,
Yeah, that's also very fishy, isn't it?
like if you had to put this 2 and 2 together, you're like, okay, where did you come up with this idea? And oh, by the way, they don't work. They're not real pipe bombs. So where did you get these phony looking pipe bombs? Down to the wiring and the kitchen timers that the FBI uses down the street at their training facility. Where did you get these? So the FBI can continue this charade, and they don't know who this guy is. But of course they do. They know exactly who this guy is. But we're not stupid. They continue to...
Hush here, joining up. Who's up next? You tried. I'm not finished. Let's try something new. Elm flame. You tried. Fall back.
Be wary. Raven here. You're welcome.
Let's try something new. Should have thought twice.
This way. You won't stop me.
Who's up next?
The trial. Not a smart place to be.
Stick together. Who's up next?
Blade here. Let's mix it up.
Spin this yarn. Why don't we know who the backpack guy is? Why don't they know who he is? The answer is because they don't want to let us know. They were involved, of course, from the very beginning in this cover-up and hoax, and they don't want us to know the involvement of this. Just for some context here is backpack guy.
Tonight, the FBI releasing new video of the person suspected of planning those pipe bombs the night before the Capitol riot. And the FBI officially confirming those pipe bombs placed at the Democratic and Republican National Committee headquarters could kill.
These pipe bombs were viable devices that could have been detonated, resulting in serious injury or death.
The video offering specific detail on the suspect's movements. At 7:40, the suspect seen walking along this residential street. Investigators interested in their somewhat unusual gait. Moments later, a person walking a dog passes by. By 7:52, the suspect has made it to the DNC headquarters. The suspect sits on a bench and appears to fumble with that backpack. A bomb is later discovered in the bush adjacent to the bench. At 8:14, the same suspect walking
An exact human being who is a retired Air Force Chief Master Sergeant who is now working as a contractor with a security clearance, Kyle said. Now, Seraphin and his team were assigned to stake out the person's row home for a number of days. They were watching him. But the FBI then blocked the request to interview this person. And then they were called off the target. Nope, all right, you're done. You got a little too close to the stove. Completely taken off the case, and then sent to look into other January 6th individuals who were just around the Capitol that day, other, as Kyle described it, low priority targets. You're literally watching the guy who planted the bombs, probably person of interest, but you're pulled off of that. So what happened? Well, higher ups told them to stand down. Nothing to see here. I guess they were running this like charade and thought, well, that's enough. An even bigger bombshell, though, was dropped last night by Congressman Thomas Massey. Actually, I don't know that it's a bigger bombshell. They're both huge, right? Who is the mysterious guy tipping off police? You can see here in just moments, he walks up to, of course, the police car, and then in the black car, here he comes. This is the other backpack guy. He walks up and lets the police know at 1:05 p.m., precisely the same time that stuff was happening at the Capitol building, right? So he there talks to the police officers. They don't do anything. They continue eating their lunch and they sit there for another few minutes. Oh, there's a pipe bomb over there on the bench right next to our cars. And oh, and by the way, Kamala Harris is in the building. That's her Secret Service detail.
That's cool.
So then he walks around the other side and then nothing happens.
Finish my lunch.
I'm just going to hang out for another few minutes. Nothing big deal. So who is this mysterious guy tipping off police that there's a pipe bomb? Well, Thomas Massey asked FBI Director Christopher Wray that very question. Who is this guy, and why won't you tell us who he is? Watch.
Who walked by that bench and then went up to the police and the detail. Didn't do that accidentally. They had a purpose in mind, and then what transpired after that was the result of information that person gave to them. If that person found the pipe bomb, would they be a suspect?
Well, again, I don't want to speculate about specific individuals. I will tell you that we have done thousands of interviews, reviewed something like 40,000 video files, of which this is one. Assessed 500 something tips.
Have you interviewed that
the
person?
Devices. We have conducted all logical investigative steps and interviewed all logical individuals at this
Then
point.
you need, it's 900 days. You need to tell us what you found, because we're finding stuff you haven't released into the public.
So, of course, that was last July. Well, Massey finally found out who he was. Who was that guy? Who was Backpack Guy? And told Matt Gaetz this last night on his show. Watch.
You recently met with Capitol Police.
Correct. Today.
Today. And what did you learn in that meeting?
I learned that Backpack Guy, January 6th Backpack Guy, not to be confused with January 5th Backpack Person. The Backpack Guy was a non-uniform, plainclothes police officer, in the employ of the Capitol Hill Police.
What?
The person who found the pipe bomb, the person who, D'Antuono, who was leading the investigation, say, oh yeah, the person who found it, it'd be investigation 101, that they would be a suspect initially until ruled out. You're saying that person was an undercover, plainclothes Capitol Police officer, and the Capitol Police confirmed that to you today?
They confirmed that to me today, yes.
Okay.
What? I mean, what? And so, to Thomas Massey's point, what the hell? It seemed like when he was interviewing Chris Ray, he said this guy had a purpose. He knew exactly what he was doing. He walks up, he sees this pipe bomb, he goes directly to the police, he goes right to then he has the wherewithal. Like, if you don't know who these people are, right, do you think to also go to the black car and talk to the Secret Service? No, you're like kind of panicking. I don't know what you're going to do. He knows exactly where he's going, what to do. And it's precisely at the same time that stuff is happening at the Capitol building. What the hell? So this is an unbelievable story. Darren Beatty, of course, from Revolver News, who has been all over this story from the very beginning. He has kept this story front and center like no one else. He's done an amazing job. Darren's going to be on the show next week. Darren said this last night. He said the plot thickens. Damning new details emerge in the January 6th pipe bomb cover-up. Before learning of the information in this piece, we would have said the chance of January 6 pipe bombs being a hoax and cover-up were 99%, leaving a 1% chance that some bizarre, exotic, but plausible and innocent explanation could be given for the anomalies we've covered.
Mix it up.
Let's try something new. Who's up next?
You won't stop me!
Let's end this quickly. Enemy down.
You won't stop me!
Returned from the flame. Let's end this quickly.
We run. Wait here. Let's mix it up. The trial commences.
Let's end this quickly.
You are
This is good. Who's up next?
double kill.
Friends in the afterlife. Let's end this quickly. Let's end this quickly.
Halfway through. Stay strong.
Enemy down.
Double kill.
What did you think would happen? Take this!
Your valor will not be forgotten.
Now we're in a position to rule out the remaining 1% of doubt. The January 6 pipe bombs are 100% a hoax and 100% a cover-up. What's more, we know who is covering it up. Stay tuned, he says. When this fully blows up, it'll be the biggest story in the country and the biggest scandal in recent American history. Of course, the mainstream media won't cover the story.
They don't give a crap.
They don't give a crap, but we do, and we're going to continue to stay on this story. I said Darren Beatty from Revolver News is going to join us next week here on the show as this story develops. I mean, there's a couple of, we have so many questions about it, right? But one thing that absolutely stands out to me, the Secret Service, and if I've gone to presidential events, I've covered presidential speeches, of course, and the Secret Service arrives 3 days ahead of time to do sweeps to secure the area, right? And not every situation can they do that. Big events, of course, they're doing that. But Kamala Harris, Vice President-elect, is there in the building. The Secret Service arrived hours beforehand to do a sweep of this building. They're literally parked right next to a pipe bomb? Really? The Secret Service is parked next to a pipe bomb. And it wasn't like it was hidden in the bushes. It was out in plain sight by the park bench.
And there's footage of them actually letting kids walk across the street right past where the bomb is.
Exactly, not before.
After that
backpack guy goes up and tells them, yes, you see a group of school children just walking casually across the street, and they are there. The Secret Service just standing there on the street. Now, I've heard people say, well, they didn't want to probably panic and panic children. No, you don't have to panic anybody, but just directing the children away from the scene. Like, that's not like, oh my God, there's a bomb. They're not going to do that. But they could say, children, we kindly ask you to cross over the other side of the street, and police officers are driving by. There's a police car that drives by up the street on its way to presumably to the Capitol building. You don't mean you could park one of those SUVs right there blocking that intersection? I'm sorry, but
an unknown explosive device, if you know there's an unknown explosive device, that's one of those points where I think you don't want to tell people, no, calmly, just walk. It's like, get out of here.
Get the heck out.
You want people panicked at that point. Get the heck out of here. Go. It's not like, okay, everybody just calmly walk the other way. We've got an unknown explosive device. No.
Get restful sleep, and a great way to do that is media loves him and tells you should love him when he only has about a 3% support and only in urban centers in Russia. So he's only a media darling in the West. I'm sorry I interrupted, but go ahead.
No, thank you for clarifying. Yes, and again, with the case of Navalny, often labeled the opposition leader, which then betrays the West's lack of knowledge of the support of parties in Russia. We have Putin's party, obviously with the majority, the second, and what you would clarify or classify as the opposition being the Communist Party. Navalny, as far as I know, is not a communist. However, the West incorrectly labels him as this opposition leader. That leads us to these other candidates. You and your audience may recall Ekaterina Duntsova, a female journalist who came out of nowhere, very similar manifesto, ending the SMO, the Special Military Operation, the conflict in Ukraine, and yada, yada, yada. She, by her own admission, made a mistake in filing her application to be a candidate and was therefore refused. The West, of course, jumped upon that immediately, saying this was evidence of corruption and rigging elections. And now we have Boris Nadezhdin, who again has just come out of nowhere, actually a physicist by training, and served one term in the State Duma 20 years ago. So he's been recycled, placed here. He's being stylized again as this protest vote against Putin. But as soon as the West holds anyone like Duntsova or Nadezhdin now up on a pedestal, that's actually highly counterproductive to the Russian people. Once they see that arouses suspicion. They therefore know this person is quite possibly a Western shill. Now, if I use a reverse analogy, look what happened to Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson in the West as soon as Dmitry Medvedev praised their words or actions. They were immediately labeled Putin puppets and shills for Russia and propagandists. We see the same effect now that's rapidly coming into Russia, where as his name, Nadezhdin, is being repeated and certainly publicized in Western media, it arouses that same suspicion in the Russian people. Now, for the West to then claim about, how come he hasn't been jailed, and all these things which he is saying, I don't know why I haven't been treated the same way as Navalny. The West tries to make that out like, wow, yes, he's a real truth teller and he's risking his life, he's in jeopardy. Absolutely not. again, let's look at the other facts. In recent polling, President Putin has an above 80% approval rating and has collected, as an independent candidate, it has to be noted, 3.5 million signatures to support his candidacy. Why would you need to rig any elections, and why would you be threatened by some outsider who's just come out of nowhere? The Russian people, as I've said in previous interviews with you, have it's been proven to them that Putin was right in the past when perhaps they didn't believe him. The West, in the way they've treated recently Russian athletes, stripping them of medals. It's very clear to Russians what the West thinks and feels about them. And then we have in these Western articles talks of expats, Russians who have fled. Now that's quite possibly true, that Russians in places like Tbilisi in Georgia and other countries, maybe they are signing up for this guy. And again, as the Washington Post said, they don't know who he is, they just know that he's against Putin. So the risk is, however, that with funding and support outside of Russia, it could, by Russian laws, be seen as a foreign agent. And especially if you're donations, there is a finite sum that can be raised. I've had the same problem when raising donations for Donbass. And that is a legitimate protection and mechanism against NGOs and other interfering organizations in Russia. And of course,
Right.
we can predict how the West might react if Nadezhdin is found in breach of such mechanisms and laws.
Oh, they won't care. Alexei Navalny is foreign supported, has accepted aid from United States linked agencies. So no, they don't care about that at all.
Socialist Party has been propping up the Trudeau government now for a couple of years, and they have promised to do that until the next election. So they're meeting in secret, talking about so-called electoral reform. But is this not just election corruption, election fraud? Because they're specifically talking about three things. They want a longer period of voting, up to at least 3 days. They want people to be able to vote at any polling station. And they want this to be focused on mail-in voting, which of course, as you mentioned from the start, this to me is all about ballot harvesting. Because the more that we emphasize mail-in voting, the greater potential we have for abuse.
Yesterday, the Pentagon announced that 3 U.S. troops had been killed and dozens injured after a drone loaded with explosives struck them at a base in Jordan near the Syrian border. Now, none of that can be confirmed. The details, anyway, the location of the attack, and there's some question about whether that's true, but there is no question that American troops were killed yesterday, and the reaction to that, mixed with sadness, was highly political, in fact, even strategic. Within moments of this news breaking, Lindsey Graham, the Republican senator from South Carolina, called for blood. Quote, "Hit Iran now. Hit them hard," he tweeted. Nikki Haley, of course, piled on. Here's what she posted to X. Quote, "As a military spouse, my heart breaks for the families who lost loved ones. This shows the barbaric nature of our enemies in Iran, and it shows that they would not be attacking our troops if Joe Biden weren't so weak in his treatment of Iran. We should retaliate with full force, the full force of American strength. It's the only way to prevent further war. If we do not, these attacks will continue." Interesting. All of this came immediately. They were joined by Wes Clark, the former presidential candidate and commander of NATO, and buffoons like John Cornyn, who apparently is a senator from Texas, etc., all saying the same thing. Let's go to
end this quickly.
They're firing at us.
You tried.
There's no escape.
Better find some cover. Should have thought twice.
Watch out!
Tread lightly.
You are the avatar of death. Get there!
Of course it's down to me.
I am magic itself. No escape. Squish like an ant. Fly. Ready.
Double kill.
They just die so easily. Eat crow.
Danger abounds. Avatar of death. Double kill. Paragon slain.
Let's try something new. Let's end this quickly. Better find some cover.
We've got company.
Let's try something new.
Let's have some payback.
Not dead yet.
Very lightly.
Stay vigilant. Who's up next? Enemy down. Find some cover.
We have lost the battle, but not the war.
Didn't think I could pull that off, did you?
You are the avatar of death.
It's over!
Double kill.
What did you think was